Hello and welcome to Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global, and I invite you to get comfortable and listen in on candid conversations I have with fascinating women from around the globe. Business leaders, entrepreneurs, humanitarians, athletes, and a whole lot of regular people. Tune in as they let their guard down and open up on aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure success, and what they have learned along the way. These conversations aim to inspire you to embrace opportunities and possibilities beyond the limits of your imagination. Reclaim your power, strength, and vulnerability. Stand in your truth and propel yourself towards the life you dream to live. Hello to our beautiful listeners of Women's Biz Podcast. Great to be with you today. Annie here, and I am going to bring to the show today a gorgeous guest. Her name is Theresa Rose, and we're going to be talking all things brand and business and how important it is to crystallize absolutely everything we are doing. So welcome to the program, first of all, Theresa.
Thank you, Annie, for having me. I'm excited to have a great conversation today.
I'm super pumped to have you on the show because I know you call yourself a brand and business crystallizer. You're also a strategic co-creator, lots of TEDx speaker, professional speaker. You are in for a treat today, our Women's Biz Podcast listeners, and you're all about creating visual brands. All right, what can you even draw on a cocktail napkin? How clear can it be? I think this is such a great conversation we're going to have because we do overcomplicate things, right? And then when someone goes and says, what do you do? What do you offer? We suddenly go into big spiels, whereas it really should be, which is your area of expertise, nutting it down to be so clear so that you can clarify what you do, amplify it, and then monetize your brilliance. So let's get straight into it. I'd love you to talk right at the beginning. Well, if you're an expert in crystallization, what is crystallization from your perspective?
Crystallization is all about taking the essence of who we are and being able to draw it so clearly that you could draw it on a cocktail napkin, that a child could understand it. Crystallization is that process that you distill out through all the noise and the words and the thought spaghetti. You distill it all down to its very essence of what makes you shine. And that level of clarity that we can possess is really, to me, like a key. That crystallization is like literally a spirit print key that unlocks your possibility, your potentiality in all the ways that you want to shine in the world. The ways that people read you, listen to you, watch you, interact with you, and then ultimately do business with you.
So why is it so hard to do? It should be the easiest thing, like just do, the essence of what you offer, why you're in business. But it's so hard for so many people. Why?
Oh, totally. Well, there's a lot of reasons. One is it's difficult to be clear and concise. I remember it's very often misquoted, so I won't say the quote of who it's from. It's a very old quote that says, "Forgive the length of this letter. If I had more time, I would have written a shorter one."
Yes, brilliant.
Because it really does take a tremendous amount of mental acuity and perception and discernment and wordsmithing to be able to distill down to its essence. I liken my work to being like a brand Michelangelo, where I chip away everything that isn't David, that Michelangelo said he's in there. I just chip away all the marble that isn't him. And that's really what I see as the crystallization. That's one reason, is just the pure and simple fact that most people, especially now in this distracted, overwhelmed, disengaged environment, I think that a lot of people skipped English class. They didn't pay attention to comprehension and critical thinking and being able to discern and distill down. But I also think, Annie, the bigger issue isn't that it's mentally challenging. I find that the biggest real opportunity is the fact that we can't see ourselves. We can't see ourselves. And when I think about that statement of being seen, because I really believe that at the core, that's the work that I do. Yes, I can create beautiful visual brands, but the real sacredness of what I do is that I see people. And when I think about how do we see ourselves, well, I know as a professional speaker, the last thing I want to do is watch myself or listen to myself. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the most excruciating experience to go back and look at your content. And so the crystallization process that I do, I am unique in the sense that I go and find people's brilliance, what I call in the wild, where they've already been brilliant. And I don't ask them to tell me what makes them brilliant. I don't ask them to fill out a 50-page meet the brand survey. I don't
Yeah.
ask them to sit in a VIP day and have me ask you all those questions from those surveys. I actually go find it and be able to see them, because the reality is we will go our whole lives and never really see ourselves the way the world sees us. We'll just see flat reflection, and it all runs through our own prism of self-judgment anyway. And what we don't want to look at ourselves. We don't see ourselves in our full magnificence. We see too many of the flaws. We get our head in the game too much. So there's a lot of reasons why we can't do it ourselves.
Beautifully said. And I think this became a reality to me. I remember when I first became a CEO, 12 years ago, and I was working for a company and I'd written all of this information, and the president or the chair at the time went and said, just put it on a one-pager and I know you'll be great at the job. And what he was saying is, install the waffle, that's right, the one-pager is so important, because it is so key to just drill down. Where are we now? Where do we want to go? What is our strategy? How are we going to measure our success? All of that sort of thing on one page. And I still remember back at university days, that's right, it's easier sometimes to write thousands of words, harder to then just get the gems, because you worry, I'm going to miss something.
Right.
And this topic is so important for our listeners to be hearing today, because it really is a foundational requirement, because this clarity, if you like, it affects all of your future offerings. It affects
Everything.
Content marketing. It affects your business development. And often we spend so much extra time, exhausting time, sometimes unnecessary time, being too broad. It really does help you focus, doesn't it? And I love what you do.
Absolutely.
You do that for other people without telling me. I think that actually is great, because they'll have this view of how to impress you, whereas it's often the times that someone's just shone, or this time they won a business deal, and it's often for the different reasons, isn't it? Maybe the person believed in them rather than the product, or maybe it was some X factor that they really just didn't have a great idea on. So when you go and coach people to go cocktail napkin selling, how do they respond to that? And what are the big shifts that they have once they've done a session like that with you?
Yeah, so cocktail napkin selling is really essential in this day and age. You want to be able to sell whatever it is that your offering is in such a very simple and brief way that you could draw it on a cocktail napkin, because it's the best technology you can use. It's scrunchable, it's mobile, it's ubiquitous. You'll always find one somewhere. You'll always be able to find something you can doodle. And so it's important, not just because it forces you to be brief because of the sheer real estate that it's offered, 4 inches by 4 inches or whatever it is, but it also is available for any sales conversations, because sales conversations happen everywhere. Here's where the disconnect happens. People get connected to us just because we're humans. We find each other in networking events, we find each other at in conferences and different things, and then we want to be able to extend that conversation into a potential sales conversation. Well, you don't want to have your fancy PowerPoint or your demo platform or your 72-page proposal or all the other things that you might need. You want to be able to convey that information in a split second that people will then understand, oh, I see what she does and I need that. So that's one part, is simply because you want to be able to be armed with everything you need to have a sales conversation, and you want to be able to love it. When you have your crystallized brilliance down onto a cocktail napkin, every single thing on that cocktail napkin is you. Every single thing is resonant and deep, and it matters, and you care about it. And so it's really the recipe for a successful sales conversation. I like to call it triangulated sales. Cocktail napkin selling allows for triangulated sales. And that means that if you and I are in a traditional sales conversation, and let's say you're the buyer, you're the consultant or the coach or the speaker or the advisor, podcast host, trainer, whoever who really needs cocktail napkin clarity to grow your empire, you want to scale. If you're the buyer and I'm the seller in a traditional environment, you have the power, and I'm hoping you choose me. And because of that, what happens is the dynamics energetically are stilted. You're the one with the quote power, although you're the one that needs something. And I'm the one with the solution, but I'm the one that's also asking and hoping you say yes. And there's an energetic disconnect that happens that automatically makes the person who's the seller uncomfortable and insecure and and ill at ease and underconfident. Oh, underconfident. And this could even be like going for your promotion, right? The buyer might be the boss. The seller is the employee who wants to get the promotion, right? So what cocktail napkin selling does is it triangulates the energetics of our discussion. So then when I bring in my cocktail napkin into the conversation, which mine is clarify your brilliance so you can amplify it strategically and then monetize it fully. Clarify, amplify, monetize. 3 little words, and you can understand everything that I do. When I talk about that, what I'm going to do is give all my energy and all my enthusiasm and all my focus on telling you how amazing my cocktail napkin is, because it is, and it's the hill I'll die on. Okay.
Yeah.
And I have such confidence and such belief in what I talk about with my cocktail napkin, and I can prove it. And what happens then is my energy, my focus goes external to the cocktail napkin, to my ideas. And then I encourage you to be having that same conversation with me with my cocktail napkin. And either you like it or you don't. Right? You're either aligned or you aren't. So we enter a conversation not as a dominant buyer and a submissive seller, but we enter the dialogue as potential strategic partners, peers and partners. And that aspect changes the level of our competence and our confidence in all of those conversations. And it's amazing. Once you are confident in what you're selling and people can feel it, they can feel it, that's when they say yes.
They go from that energy of uncertainty to, yes, that's right, where do I sign up? They want to be where you are. And also when you're selling, it doesn't even feel like selling. You're actually just clearly providing a solution to them. So it takes that desperateness. When you're in that space of please pick me, someone can tell. Right?
Oh, we used to call it commission breath. Right.
Yeah.
And it's this thing that you can just tell when somebody is selling. And so the key is not just to have that enthusiasm. The key is also to have the level of clarity, because you want your buyer to get to the point where they say it's a no-brainer. It's so clearly obvious that this is what I need. And in this distracted state, we need to bring it down to literally 3 to 7 words, artfully done in a design, a picture, right? An actual visual, because that's what will pierce the noise of all the distraction that's out there.
So what do you see as the biggest mistake that business owners make with their marketing? Is it just that they actually haven't got that clarity? What do you see it?
That's absolutely their biggest mistake, is they don't really understand what makes them different than everybody else. And and clarity work is hard work. It's really hard work because it requires a certain level of presence and a certain level of dedication to the craft of finding the gems amid the noise. right? So it takes even a pacing, a slower pace. It takes care. It takes care to be able to do. And so that process, I think one of the big mistakes people make in business is that they go fast, 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 and they're just going to throw more words at things. And they
Yeah.
think if I just do more words, if I could just do more content and I just get more content, it's like, no, you don't need to do more content. You need to do the right content. When I did my last TEDx talk, it was called Doodle Your Dream, How a Cocktail Napkin Will Save the World. And it's essentially about show and tell sales. Not selling, but just show and telling. And that mistake that businesses make is that they all focus on amplify and monetize, but they forget about the clarify part. And once you can really give some dedicated time to that and honor it and understand, I need to be seen in a new way. Once that process happens, then all the other things that stem from it, the content marketing, the offers, the products and services, everything that you're going to do is all going to come off of that real knowing of what makes you, you.
Exactly, because otherwise you've got someone who actually digs your vibe, likes your energy, whatever it is, but they don't actually know what they're going to buy. Like they don't
Exactly.
know what it is. It's like, I want some with you. I do, but I just don't know what. It's like going into a McDonald's or something and going, I just don't know what is on offer, but I'm hungry. I've got the money in my pocket.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it reminds me of one of my latest crystallization clients. She has so much fire and she has so much personality and so much energy, so many gifts. And she had 6 months, just as an example, she had 6 months of trying to reach this prospect to no avail, and just crickets, right? Just crickets. And then she got crystallized, and as a result of her crystallizing, now what she's doing is all of her content on her social, her articles that she's writing, this new speech that she's doing, everything she's doing is now wrapped in this new crystallized vision of hers. When she then sent that article to this previously ghosting prospect, within an hour, that prospect had come back to her, said thank you for the information because it was actually helpful to her and she could understand it. And then that proceeded to say, and we want to publish it in our association magazine, and let's have a conversation about how you can help our organization more. So people who want you and want to support you, they may have not said yes simply because they don't understand yet.
Yeah.
And once they understand how you solve their problem in such a quick and easy way that they don't have to read an 800-word,
Yes.
email about it, but they can see a picture of it, that is going to get them to move off center and move into action.
So how does your crystallized marketing and sales model for thought leadership help people make money from their brilliance? How do you, as well as a session on trying to get that clarity, how do you then really help them shift to go, you know what, your brilliance is what you've been missing out on? How do you then help them to really take advantage of that?
Yeah, great question. So there's 3 fundamental foundations that I deliver in the crystallization process at the beginning, and that's the model, the messaging, and the monetization plan. So basically the picture of your brilliance, what goes on the cocktail napkin, the words that match the brilliance picture, because people need to have the right words. And frankly, it's the same as not being able to see our brilliance. A lot of times people can't articulate their brilliance. They still have that unconscious, old school, oh, I'm not that great thing that happens. So they need to have someone else reflect correctly what it is how brilliant they are, so they have the same words they're using over and over and over again, right? We want to be able to saturate the market with the same messaging. So whoever listens to you on a podcast, whoever reads you on social, whoever goes to your website, whoever listens to a podcast interview, they will all get the same things, right?
Yes.
So then the third foundation is the monetization plan, for them to really understand how are you actually going to make the money in a very, very efficient way. I like to look at a walk, run, soar model of monetization. I think we all need to be doing smart things, repurpose our brilliance, be strategic, be efficient, be able to utilize our time as wisely as we possibly can. So if you have the perfect picture of your brilliance and the perfect words of your brilliance and the perfect plan, which means I've got this walk offer, a lot of people are going to want it. And then when they're walking with me, some of them are going to want to run with me, my next level, and a few of them are going to want to soar with me. And so those 4 or those 3 ways that you walk through that, I'm there with someone to really help them understand what it is do you really want to do. Because a lot of times people will want to monetize on something because they were told to do it.
Yes, so true.
Right?
So
Not
true.
because they really want to do it. And what I like to do is align people up with everything they need that they actually love, that they want to do a lot of, that they believe in, that they're not just doing because somebody told them they should do it, right? And so I help them get kicked off with really knowing, okay, I know the brilliance of me, I know the words of me, and I know what I'm going to be doing to execute it. Now, I will say that the other parts of this aren't just the marketing part. Right. I was just talking to one of my 2 of my coaching clients today, and I was describing to them this journey to the money. Okay. The journey, because that is ultimately what I'm about, is I want to help you make more money. I want to
Yep.
help your listeners make more money in their brilliance. So then you reverse engineer it and you go, okay, so if the answer is they have said yes to whatever offer it is that you have, then you back it up and you go, that's the sales bucket that we're in. And the way that I see having the most successful sales conversation is, as I said, being triangulated, making sure that you're not in sales mode at all. You're in simply show and tell mode, and you do it with such gusto and such confidence and such clarity that they can't help but say yes. Okay, so then I'm going to reverse and go backwards and go, what's before the sales? Well, what's before the sales is the marketing. What are you doing with your marketing? And are all the places that people take your brilliance in, do they all have that same consistent feel? Because most businesses, you'll have one set of people doing the website, another set working on your social, another set working on your email marketing, another set that's helping you with your speech or whatever else that your book, your courses, all the things. Then you're not sending out the same information to the public, right? Then you back up and out of the marketing bucket and you look at operations. Are you running your business effectively? Do you have, like I am in the throes right now, Annie, of standardizing my business in a way that I've never done before, where I have my CRM that is connected to my Asana, managing that through all my divisions and subdivisions, which has my Google Drives that are all exactly mapped to that, which have all of my, tabs even on my Chrome that matched all of it, to really get your machine, your operational machine running right, and your finance machine running right, and you have your right products and services. So it's not just sales. And it's not just marketing. It's the whole thing. All those things come to bear when it comes to making the money. You've got to have all the pieces in place.
And with making the money, it's all about finding the smartest, fastest way to monetize your gifts and talents. That's what you're saying. You're saying, you know what, there's a long way or there's an easier way. And ultimately, all those things go to monetizing your brilliance, whatever that is. And you want to do that quickly, efficiently, which one, it's great for you who doesn't want more cash in, but actually is great for the person that you're providing the service. They want to have a quick response. They want to go, you know what, I need that burger now. Give it to me hot. Give it to me now.
Why when I talk to people about my business, about crystallizing, and I say, this is what I do. I deliver. You don't have to do anything. Literally, the only thing my clients do is fill their box of brilliance. So all I ask them to do is put the content in that makes you shine. And it can be 20 years old. It could be 2 days old. It could be the most brilliant polished thing. It could be word salad, thought spaghetti. It could be public. It could be your private notes. I don't care. Whatever it is that makes you shine, Okay, you put it in that box of brilliance, and I digest it with intention, singularity, focus, love, and I find where you shine. And I tell them, I do all the heavy lifting. You don't even have to do it. You show up for a 2-day retreat with me, and I give you the 3 core deliverables: model, messaging, and monetization plan in 2 days, where other people do it in 6 months to a year, get you
Yeah,
those 3 things. Right?
exactly.
So they will pay for efficiency and to make it quick. I will say, though, one thing to help people, just as a nugget of awesome, to help them sort of move off of any place where they might be stagnant with their sales, prior to getting crystallized, is really, really understand that if you feel like you're stuck in closing deals, don't push that energy to do more sales, because it will come across as negative. It will come across as desperate. What I recommend that you do, you step back, you get back into your heart, and you say, how can I help these people? And get
Yeah.
really clear and deliberate about what you can do to support them. Of course, based on your brilliance. Because the more you can prove to them, hey, I'm here to help you, even if it's with a 30-second video that I did in my car, right?
Yeah.
If to move forward and not ask for, to get married on the first date. Right? You want to cultivate it and nurture that relationship in a meaningful way.
Yeah, which is what it's like when you're on the receiving end of those emails. And I'm sure you get every day of someone saying, for the 4th time, I'm just bringing this to the top because you've obviously missed it. It's like, no, well, I didn't ask for it. I'm not interested,
Right.
or if I was, it'd be better to give it to me in a really bite-sized way, like a little video or something or other. And if it jags my interest, absolutely fantastic. Do you have a model of someone that you've worked with, or someone famous who has, this has worked, that you've actually watched them transform not only your own
Yeah.
business, but someone else? You know what? They switched on in this way and it went boom.
Yeah. Well, there's 2. One is one that all of us know, and that is Simon Sinek. Simon Sinek created an empire on Start with Why, with 3 little circles and 3 little words: why, how, and what. And on that flip chart at that TEDx Puget Sound that he did, and he drew those 3 concentric circles, everyone understood what he was saying. He said over and over, they don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yes.
So that's an example of a brilliant, crystal clear model. Another one that I did with my client Cheryl Lynn, she's the founder visionary of a company called Joyly. She has, in 4 little words, created a movement to address our mental health crisis, from children to to all ages and all industries and all locations, civic, education, corporate, with 4 little words: sit, breathe, think, feel. When we can sit in our chair right now and we can breathe in our bodies, and we can think about a moment in our lives that brought us tremendous amount of joy, whether it was yesterday or 10 years ago, one that just really lit your heart on fire, and you feel what it felt like to have that. Sit, breathe, think, feel. Those 4 little words have created a global movement for Cheryl and the Joyly community, and she has replaced the timeout chair with the chair of joy. And it's a beautiful and amazing testament to the power of crystallization and what can happen when people really understand what you're trying to do, and it can be shared easily. I'm really, really proud of that. That's one of my legacies that I am just really thrilled to be a part of.
Oh, brilliant. You should be proud of it. It's just so joyful when you actually just see someone switch on and they just get so much success from it. We want, as business coaches, as leaders, we want to see everyone elevating and rising. It's super exciting. And what we've been sharing today is actually, it's about spending the time to make something simple and then rinse and repeat it,
Yep.
I think we do get way, way too complicated. And with that, we get exhausted, but we
Yep.
also throw a lot of money at the wall. And then we also are confusing. And I think this is a really fantastic conversation. I've loved having this conversation with you today. I know it's going to be adding so much value to our listeners. I want you to engage all of our listeners around the globe and watchers on YouTube and LinkedIn Live. I want you to pop some questions if you've got them in the chat. We would love to engage with you. Keep them, ask them something really specific. You can reach out to both of us. It's so important that you just stop and go, would I be able to write what I do, who I serve, how it all works with that sort of clarity, crystalline clarity. I think, get that word into your head, all of our listeners, crystalline clarity, because then you can amplify and monetize. So start getting clear. It will change your world. Reach out if you need some help. What's one thing that they could do today, Theresa, if you just go, yep, this is really resonating with me. I've got myself way too complicated. One tip to finish up today.
My invitation to your listeners is to think about what is the biggest initiative they have coming up, whether it's a presentation to make or a proposal to do or whatever it is. Think about one thing that would make materially a difference to them and their success, that if it went well, it would be a game changer. And think about what can you do to take some segment of the most important text in that process and turn it into a picture. And lead with the picture. Lead with the picture.
Lead with a picture. I can see you've even got pictures behind you. Pictures are just so fantastic. Even if you're not a drawer, you don't have to be. You don't have to be all artsy. It doesn't have to be glossy, beautiful. It just has to go, I see it. Like Simon Sinek. Great example. Not really super impressive, but super impressive. It was 3 circles. How hard is it? Let's not make it too complicated. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining me today. And to our listeners, I hope that's added incredible value to you. It's always great having you part of our global community. Reach out, as I said, if you need any more help, and we will see you again same time next week. Till then, just keep soaring.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Women's Biz Podcast. I'm Annie Gibbins, founder and CEO of Women's Biz Global. And if you would like to fast track your future success, pop on over to womensbizglobal.com, where you can find out how our coaching, media and publishing opportunities are helping women just like you to become and be seen as the trusted authorities in their niche. Inquire today and start reining in the abundance you desire.